Good morning, everybody. It's 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. I am so thankful to be here with you this morning, and I want to talk about not building your business or your life alone. So when I had my son, Zach, I remember thinking that, between running my company and being a brand new mom, and this will prove the point that I'm trying to share with you in every area of your business, is that I thought that I could get help maybe 2 hours a day. And what I realized is that entrepreneurs, driven people, we tend to kind of, we structure out our lives in a way that we think we've got it all handled, but yet we're feeling overwhelmed. Things aren't building quick enough. Often the results that we're getting are not good enough for us, not for the world, but for us. And we live in this constant sphere of stress and grind and growing. And so I just want to take a few moments and on Coffee with Shanda this morning, just have you grab a piece of paper and pen, and let's talk about some of the areas that are stressed or stretching, causing you, anxiousness, unease while you're trying to grow your business. And the first thing I'll share with you is first identify what are those areas. Like, do you want to create a blog and you can't figure out the content? Or you're like me and you're like, I consider myself challenged in writing because of the fact that I'm a poor speller, my grammar is awful. It's just the way I'm built. I'm not built like that. And so you might have your story, your limiting story, like I just shared with you. Like my limiting story is that I've got dyslexia, that I'm not good at grammar. It used to be that I don't know how to speak. I'm not a speaker. My spelling, my grammar used to be like I can't be an author, but yet I am now. And so my point in sharing this with you is there is a solution for whatever problem's going on in your life right now or inside your business right now. But often we're trying to muscle our way through. Those are my big muscles. We're trying to muscle our way through growing our business, and we're trying to do way too much on our own. So I started by sharing that when I had my son, which is almost 3 years ago now, which is incredible. When he was born, I remember thinking I could bring in a nanny from this time to this time and start segueing back to work like in ease, you know what I mean? Like just kind of ease my way back into work. And I could have, this slot of time, this 3 hours where I could have a nanny help me where I could work. And I could get a lot done in those 3 hours. And then I could muscle myself back to, being a mom. And obviously anybody who's a parent, I realized that your child doesn't obey the 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. time slot, right? Especially if they're brand new. But that is really quite relevant in every area of your life, is it not? You create these plans, and often these plans aren't even close to what happens. And so what happens is we get this anxiety of it's not turning out the way we want it to. That coach is not giving me the support that I want to. That, virtual assistant is not, producing what I want or project managing good enough, right? And notice that the underlining behavior of a lot of us driven people are it's not good enough. So the virtual assistants, the coaches, the masterminds, have you ever thought you were going to go do something, you were super excited about something in your life and then it was like anticlimactic? It's like, it was okay. Because we have this standard, and it's not a bad standard, but we have this standard of this really, we want everything to be explosive, amazing, and just kind of rock our world, right? And so we manage things based on this belief system that it's not good enough, it's not building quick enough, and at the end of the year, unless we look back behind us and document, track everything that we did right or everything that we accomplished, we tend to get to the end of the year and feel like I could have done better. And this absolutely slows down. It does everything that you get frustrated around. It slows down the growth, especially in your business, but in your life, of having more fun, of making more money, of creating more impact, and getting those amazing ideas and inspirations. I was meditating this morning, and I'm doing TM meditation right now, which I'm a huge fan of. I'm just loving it. But as I'm doing TM meditation, one of the things they talk about is these thoughts that come up. And as these thoughts are coming up, they're releasing actual stress inside your body. I'm not going to go into the details of it. If you've done TM, you understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go look up a course and go do it. It's great, especially for driven people. But my point in sharing that with you is I had all these thoughts. Like I can't remember them now. And isn't that the frustrating part? I mean, that's kind of the frustrating part. It's like, oh my God, I got to grab my pen and my paper and I got to write this down because I don't want to forget it. It's so good. And I'm just like you. I had those thoughts this morning while I was meditating. I was like, oh, I want to get out of meditation right now. This is good stuff. I want to create with God. I want to create with the universe. I want to get in there and just, this is good stuff. And it's like, so that is so just baked into our DNA, right? It's baked in. And the reason why I love TM meditation is it starts to release that stuff from the body so that you can get uber focused on what it is that you're working on. So I share this with you though, because I don't want you muscling growing your business. I don't want you pushing. I want you to push, but I don't want you to push and do everything yourself. So just a strategy piece. And that's where I think really I do best. I mean, I think formulas are easy. There's a formula to do a podcast. There's a formula to do a live event. There's a formula to lead a mastermind. And there's a formula for all of these things. But once you learn them, you've learned them. The only reason why they work or they don't work for you has everything to do with the anxiety, thinking patterns, behavioral patterns that you have as a business owner, as a wife, as a mother, as a husband, as a friend. The patterns are what causes these things to not grow as fast. And one of the patterns that we're really drilling down on is this thought that you do things to save money, and that you have to do these things to save money because you don't have it or you don't have enough of it. And it's counterintuitive to creating freedom. It's counterintuitive to creating freedom. So what does that look like in your business? So for some of you, it might look like getting a nanny to help you. Like stop dragging your kid everywhere with you. And I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I took Zach flying with me to Toronto and Arizona, and he came with me everywhere when I had masterminds and I spoke. But I didn't drag him into the classrooms as well. He had a nanny with him that played with him all day long, which is something that Zach obviously loves to do as a kid, but played with him all year long. And then when Zach got to the age where toddler school was around, I let him go into toddler school, and I let go of that control. Do you not think that I want my son with me 24/7 as a mom? Yes. Absolutely. But I have to let go of that control, right? To be able to continue to grow. And so things are ever changing, growing your business, and you've got to really get hyper-focused on where do you need to let go of control today so that you can grow, and where do you need to allow somebody else to help you? And this runs deep, right? Because we have these belief systems, especially if we don't have enough, which is one of the belief systems that driven people have. It's not good enough. It's not building fast enough. My results are not where I want it to be. I could always do better, right? So all of this is baked into a driver, somebody who's driven. And so what you need to do is, first of all, find people that work around you, that you articulate your vision in a very clear way. What does it look like when it's finished? Right? What does the project look like when it's finished? Write that down on a piece of paper and then read that to someone. Instead of giving them tasks, orders, direction, stop doing that. In fact, empower people to come up with their own directions on how to get it done, and you let go of those things, right? As long as you're still driving the ship. I used to do this when I started my coaching company. I would come up with all my clients' strategy on how I would build their business because I think it's the best way to do it. And then what would happen is I would hold their responsibility on my shoulders, and they'd feel connected, excited, because they'd see the money, they would see the freedom, but it was my vision, not their vision. And it was my how-to, not their how-to. And so once I started getting honed into this thing called control, and realizing that there are areas that it's very beneficial, but there are thinking patterns, and hopefully you're picking this up. There are thinking patterns with every wealth class. There's thinking patterns with every wealth class. And that's why when you hear people like my friend Jesse Itzler, he wrote Living with a Seal. When you hear people like this talk about, working out even though they have an injury, many people who are in a different wealth class go, oh my God, I'd never want to push myself like that. But you're just not catching up to, he's trying to optimize his life so he lives the most life he can. And that's actually what you want too. But we're stuck in a thinking pattern that causes us to stay in this wealth pattern. Hopefully you can hear this. It takes so much willingness to surrender what you think is best. It takes so much willingness to surrender knowing it all. Hopefully you could hear this. It's like, you spiritual people, this, the minute you start saying, oh, I got this, I know this, it's like, no, you don't. That's like the biggest reason to get into the training room, right? Control is it suffocates growth. It suffocates growth. So how do you use your power to be able to grow your business and then have people around you that grow and are empowered? And by the way, if you've ever been married, you pretty much know, or you've ever had a really great best friend, you pretty much know that nobody does it like you. I mean, it's so rare. You love the person who does it like you because they are so in sync with you. But you need to learn how to get in sync with the world and with the people around you so your company grows, which means that you have to allow other people to do it their way, which means that who cares how anything gets there? Just care about what the end result looks like. So as an entrepreneur, it's time to look at, what does your day look like today? What does your week look like? What does your month look like? And what is the result that you want at the end of the month, at the end of the week, at the end of the day? You can break it down like that, month, week, day. That is a result that would make your controller let go a little, because as long as you feel like you're getting progress, you're going to feel good, right? So it's going to reduce anxiety. You're going to feel good. But how do you articulate the finished job and then allow somebody else to do it their way? In fact, some of you guys just have to literally completely disconnect from it and just say, this is what the end result looks like. The registration page has a video on it. The headline's nice and clean. The font, you can read it really well. If you don't get really specific like that, then somebody on your team's going to go take your vision of set up a registration page with this video on it. It's not clear enough. They're going to go create an amazing banner that maybe is under a font that you hate because and you hate it because you can't read it. What I'm trying to get clear to you right now is freedom comes from you doing less and focusing on one thing and driving it deep. And ultimately, as an entrepreneur, you eventually want to get out of all fulfillment, all doingness, and really find your hat, your role that you do really well, and then you leave the vision and articulate it as a finished product specifically. And then what happens is the people around you start to adopt and know what you love. And that does not happen unless you articulate finished projects. I hope is this helpful? Are you guys, is this making a difference for you right now? Because I'd really like to know that this is landing for you. Because it's not esoteric, but it is thinking, you know what I mean? And it's just so easy to think that you're articulating your vision and you're so frustrated and overwhelmed because you're still doing everything yourself because nobody does it as good as you. And I'm saying people do it better than you if you'd let go of control and you'd actually articulate what exactly you want done specifically in a format that is written first by you and then speak it to somebody else and then give them your notes, even if it's chicken scratch on a piece of paper because that's how you think. Take a picture of this chicken scratch and send it to somebody on your team to help. Now, if you don't have somebody on your team, I'm going to start challenging you to look at people in your life, your husbands, your sisters, your wives, hiring virtual assistants, whatever. I'm going to start challenging you to hire people to clean your house. Even if you don't have the money, I'm going to even if you don't want to have the money for that thing because you think that you could do it quicker yourself, or can you hear my son screaming in the background? Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's funny. So even if you think you can do it on your own, and even if you think that you can save money doing it, I'm telling you, if you have a mindset that you think that you should do a task inside your life for your business because it will save you money, or you don't have money, you're not moving towards freedom. You're not moving towards freedom. That is a thought of a specific wealth class. Now you might say, easy for you to say, Shanda. No, I walked the walk with $500 in an envelope and having no job. I walked that walk. I 100% am in integrity with the advice I'm giving right now. Not only have I walked the walk and realized this thought process that got me out of struggle, scarcity, and got me into massive multiple 7 figures a year, 8 figures, and I've walked so many people through it. Listen, every formula to do a podcast, a live event, how to create content, how to create workshops. Once you learn the formulas are the formulas. Why does it work for some people, not work for others? You got to let go of control. You got to stop trying to be like the perfect husband, the mom that does everything, the person who writes your copy, the person who sells your products, the person who fulfills your products. And I understand that you wear different hats or more hats at the beginning, but the first thing you need to get off your plate is tasks. You need to get admin tasks that nobody remembers mom or dad cleaning the floor. They don't remember those things. Nobody cares if Shanda buys the groceries. And I know I'm literally just hired a chef to cook for us at our house and to cook 5 days a week for us at our house. And that might sound like, oh, good for you. I'm not sharing that with you for any other reason, but to actually relate to you in this aspect. I don't really want to spend it feels wasteful to spend, the thousands of dollars a month for a chef. I mean, that's the truth. It feels wasteful. But I have to let go of control of that, because the alternative is I don't end up eating really healthy long term. I grab for the Terra chips, or things that a whole box of dried mangoes. You know what I mean? I grab for that because I don't have time to cook the meals, and so my health is more important than me feeling like the money for a chef is wasteful. Do you see how there's like control in there? Like, I'll just do it, or I'll just, you know what I mean? Like there's control in there. And so if you want to move towards freedom faster, just start working with yourself where you're at and find what you get to let go of now that can allow for other people to help you. Get very specific about what success looks like. Even if you're having someone clean your house, what does success look like? For me, success looks like my sheets are changed every time they come in. It looks like my linen closets are organized and beautiful. It looks like my pantry is stocked with healthy food. Like what does healthy food look like? You know what I mean? Like, what does success look like? So I want to throw out a challenge for you today. And the challenge is what tasks do you need to really get off your plate and allow either people in your life or hire people to do? And then please start articulating what success looks like, even when you're working projects. Okay, so one last thing. It's not on Instagram, but on Facebook, YouTube, I've got a link that is a suggestion box. I want to deliver useful content to you, useful topics. I know people have asked me to bring in information about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stuff like that around building your life. We're moving into a whole new era. I can go crazy. There's right now very human-like, You wouldn't even know that they weren't human, like robots that have feelings, and all these things are already created, right? And so I know that people are requesting me privately to start bringing some people on Coffees with Shanda, and I'm so happy to do that. And we will build out our content calendar to bring you exactly what you want so it's useful. So what I need you to do is on my Heartcore Business page, or if you're watching this on YouTube, because we share these on YouTube after, there is a suggestion box, and it's where you have a voice inside Coffee with Shanda. So please use your voice and go and answer, I think it's like 4 or 5 questions, really around what you'd like to see. And they're questions that help me get clear on what you mean about what you would like to see on Coffee with Shanda. And my team, I have a designated person on my team that will actually go find that content or put it into my content calendar. So I will deliver that content to you so that over the course of the next few weeks, few months, and year, that you start to get the resources or have me vet the resources for you to get great results this year. So here's to an amazing day. Hopefully you planned your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. Thanks, you guys. Talk to you soon.